Throughout the years, Nintendo has released a lot of different Super Mario games, and so after more than 29 years, a lot of weird claims and myths have popped up. For example, will Koopa the Quick accuse you of cheating in Super Mario 64? Does hitting a Wiggler in Mario Kart make it angry? And is there a hidden train in Super Mario Galaxy? Well, let's find out. One thing that Nintendo loves to add to almost all of their games is Easter eggs and secrets, so of course everyone keeps an eye out for them. But sometimes people will also claim to have a secret, but in the end, most of us have no idea whether it's real. And this next one is a bit of a strange case. There's a rather popular claim that Super Mario Galaxy's logo spells "You are Mr. Gay," using the sparkles that appear on the letters. The earliest mention of this is from a NeoGAF thread from September 16th, 2007, which was shortly before the game's release. But is this really in the game? Well, yeah, it is real. If you look at the logo, you will see it. And the mystery doesn't end here. In the Super Mario Galaxy 2 logo, the sparkles have been rearranged so that the marked letters spell "Your am I." This has been interpreted as a continuation of the message, because if you read it backwards, it says, "Yeah, I am. Are you?" Which is again 100% real. You can see this on the title screen. But now the big question is, was this really an intended Easter egg from Nintendo? Well, no, because it doesn't have anything to do with Super Mario or Nintendo, and the message is also quite weird. So while it is real, it probably wasn't intentional. One creature that Mario fans have always been fascinated by is Dory, the Loch Ness-like monster that was first seen in Super Mario 64. In the past, we've looked at a claim that this creature will actually attack and eat you, but this was a lie. But now I saw another claim on the internet. Apparently, if you ground pound when on Dory and stand on her neck, she will be stuck. So I did just that. I stood on her neck, not her head, and waited. Now as you can see, she stops moving and is completely frozen in place. Only when you get off her neck does she move again. So yeah, this claim is true. Using this one simple trick, you can sort of break Dory. When making these videos, I often take suggestions from people in the comments, and if you become a member of the channel or donate, you will always be included in one of these videos. But sometimes I see a suggestion that I don't believe at all. In so many ways, it doesn't make sense to me, and this next one is just like that. Sean claimed that the demonic piano seen in Big Boo's haunt can't hurt you if you're crawling. So I gave it a shot to see if this was real at all, and the outcome was interesting. When I crawled over to the piano, I noticed that it completely ignored me. Nothing really happened. So I got up to try and trigger its attack. As soon as I did, the piano went nuts and came after me. But crawling on the ground did literally nothing. He could hit me regardless. So yeah, the claim is wrong. But surprisingly enough, crawling on the ground is a good way to bypass this enemy. During the 90s and early 2000s, there were a lot of rumors going around on the internet about secret levels and power-ups in Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World. And in the past, I've already covered some of those. But when making this video, I came across a new crazy claim. The rumor goes that there's actually a blue mushroom in Super Mario Bros. 3 that turns you invisible. Now, I had never ever heard of this. Sure, there's a blue mushroom in later games, but that one is completely different because it makes you small. So is this power-up in the game? No, not at all. The only blue mushroom you can find in the game is a Toad House, and here they don't even give you a power-up. So yeah, this claim is false, and only later on were they added to the Super Mario titles. Usually when I get the chance, I will try to test any of the myths and claims that are featured in these videos, even when I'm pretty sure that they are fake. However, I don't always succeed, and this next claim was a tricky one to test, because no matter what I did, it just didn't work. According to folks on Reddit, in Big Boo's haunt, there's an extremely rare chance that you'll hear a creepy, low-pitched boo laugh when entering the mansion, and I found a video that showed it off. Here, this is what it's supposed to sound like. Now I thought it sounded super cool and spooky, so I booted up the game and tried to trigger this myself. But after trying this a dozen times, I heard nothing at all. Each time I entered the mansion, nothing happened. I even went in and out of the level multiple times. But still, nope, I didn't hear this special boo laugh. However, I am pretty sure that this is truly in the game, so I guess I will label this claim as plausible. I love that Nintendo is very sneaky at times, because almost every Super Mario game has traps that are really hard to spot at times. And of course, there are a number of those in Super Mario 64 as well. And someone pointed one out to me. Remco said that the butterflies you see in certain worlds that give you 1-ups when you punch them can also turn into bombs. Now, I had heard of this before, so I decided to enter Tiny Huge Island and bullied some of the butterflies found there. Some I punched were quite normal, and so I got a 1-up from them. But others were less friendly, because they turn into a freaking bomb. So clearly this claim is true. Better watch out next time you're trying to farm some 1-ups by killing some innocent butterflies. Years after the release of Super Mario 64, Nintendo decided to remake the game for the DS. And man oh man, this version was different. To be honest, it was more like a reimagining than a true remake. And according to Continue, Koopa the Quick also pays more attention in this version. He said that if you utilize the cannons to beat Koopa the Quick, he will accuse you of cheating, and so you won't get a star. However, he wasn't completely sure if this was only in the DS version. So of course I had to do some testing. First, I tried to cheat in the DS version of the game, and as you can see, if you try to use the cannons, he does get mad at you. He will say, "Hey, don't try to scam me. You've gotta run the whole course. Look me up when you want to race for real." So yeah, in the DS version, this is a thing. But what about the original? Well, here, when I used the cannon to skip a section of the race, Koopa the Quick also became mad. He said the exact same thing. So this is also in the N64 version. So yeah, this claim is true in both games. Now that we are messing around in Super Mario 64 with the cannons, it's a great time to test another claim involving these death machines. Because this commenter said that if you die and fall into a cannon, then it can still fire even though you're dead. But you can't collect any coins or stars, and as soon as you touch the ground, you will actually straight up die. And this person even told me where and how to do it. So I gave it a shot, even though it wasn't super easy to pull off. Actually, I messed around for ages but kept failing. So I did some research online for footage of people doing this. And yeah, as you can see, this does work. If you time it all correctly, then you can land in a cannon as you die, and fire it without any problems. So yeah, this claim is true. Now let's move away from the older titles for a bit and talk about one of the most recent releases, Super Mario Odyssey. Because when I was looking for stuff to try in Super Mario titles, I thought to myself, what actually happens when you confront one of the cute dogs found in some of the worlds as a captured enemy? Some folks online claim that they will freak out and run away, while others said that they will act normal. So I decided to capture a Gushen in the Seaside Kingdom and went over to the dog that was nearby to see what it would do. At first it ran away, so I thought I was scared, but then I saw that he was digging up a treasure for me, so he wasn't scared at all. To be honest, he was more than fine with it and was happy to see me, which shows me that these adorable little guys aren't scared of enemies as soon as Mario has captured them. Even though Super Mario 64 is almost ancient at this point, there are still a lot of new things I'm learning each time I make one of these videos. And today we will look at a claim that I found online, which I thought was a bit strange to say the least. Apparently, if you jump in water, there's a 1 in 100 chance that a fish that is swimming in this water sticks to Mario's shoe as you jump, which is a bit weird. I had never seen this, so I decided to see if it was real at all, which took a bit of time, because I had to stand in shallow water and jump a lot in order to trigger this rare event. But did it work? Well, after analyzing the footage to see if anything really happened during the million jumps I did, I could see absolutely nothing. So yeah, I wasn't able to replicate this, but I have seen multiple videos online showing off that this is real, so I guess I will label this one as plausible. This next claim is quite simple to test, and once again we are looking at something seen in Super Mario 64. In an online thread, I saw someone state that Tuxie, the baby penguin found at the top of Cool Cool Mountain, actually copies your movements. Now I was skeptical of this, because I have never seen this little guy do anything that surprised me, so I don't think he will copy you either. But still, I went to the top of the mountain and tried to trigger this mimicking behavior. However, nothing happened. He just walked around a bit and sort of followed me, but he didn't jump, slip, slide, or do anything else. So yeah, as far as I can see, this claim is nonsense. This baby has no idea what he's doing. Like I said before, I love it when people suggest stuff in the comments. It's a great way to feature all of you in videos, it helps me make those videos, and sometimes people come up with amazing ideas. And when I was going through the comments of an older video, I came across this comment that claimed that the music in Singapore Speedway changes as soon as you go through Chinatown. Now, I never really paid attention to this because I was just too busy racing. I mean, I can't let my friends win, that is unacceptable. So I did a race on this track to see if the music really changes as soon as you get to that portion of the map. And while it is a bit subtle, I did notice a real difference. The music gets a Chinese twist and goes crazy for a hot second. Here, listen. So clearly this claim is true, and I love it when Nintendo adds little details like these. When going through a Nintendo game, it's always a good idea to check every nook and cranny for secrets. And this next claim can only be found if you look very carefully in a level seen in Super Mario Galaxy. In the Toy Time Galaxy, you will come across a lot of toys, but only one is hidden. Apparently, there's another train that is out of sight, and in order to see it, you need to go to a specific spot in the level in order to find it using first-person view. So I did exactly what folks online said I had to do in order to find it. And as you can see, it is real. There's a small toy train hidden underneath this little ledge. So yeah, the claim is true. And this is the first time I have ever noticed this, even though I played the heck out of the first Galaxy title. When I was looking for stuff to cover in this video, I asked my editor if he had any ideas for me, and he had one. In Super Mario World, when you choose two-player mode, you can play as Mario and Luigi, completing levels together, sort of. But in a lot of the games, like Super Mario Galaxy, we can see that Luigi is very different compared to Mario, from his running speed to jumping. But is this also a thing in earlier games like Super Mario World? Can Luigi jump higher than Mario in this title? Well, I entered the first level of the game, both as Mario and Luigi, jumped in place for a bit, and analyzed the footage to see if I could spot a difference. And yeah, as you can see, Nintendo made both of them the exact same. They can do the same things. Neither of them can jump higher or run faster. So during the 90s, the two brothers were still the same, and all of that only changed later on in the 2000s. Now, before the release of Super Mario Odyssey, my favorite game in the series was Sunshine, a title that was very different compared to the one that came before, but still, it was amazing to say the least. So as you can imagine, I've gone through this game multiple times. I mean, at this point, something like the Sandbird isn't even a challenge anymore. However, I saw something online that I hadn't heard of before, some sort of Easter egg that was new to me, and I had no idea whether this was really in the game. People online claimed that if you look at Serena Beach from above, then it looks exactly like a GameCube controller. So I decided to check it out. And in order to pull this off, I used the site NoClip, where you can look at loads of maps from famous video games and explore them. Now, as you can see, this place does resemble a GameCube controller. You can see the sticks right here, the X and Y button there, and even a start button in the middle. So yeah, this is a real Easter egg, which is pretty cool. Now, while we are looking at the maps of some games, we might as well look at another one that hides some sort of secret. Although this one isn't really a gaming-related Easter egg, more of a shout-out to the makers in a way. Because apparently a portion of the map of Waterland seen in Super Mario Bros. 3 actually looks like Japan. So I looked up a picture of the map to see if I could spot this reference. And on the right side of it, I saw something. These little islands right here look a lot like Japan. If you compare it to Japan on the world map, you can see exactly what I mean, but who knows if this was actually intentional. So I guess this claim is true, but maybe I'm just seeing things. So I would label this as plausible. Alright, this next one blew my mind. When I first read about this claim, I was beyond skeptical and didn't think it was real. I read online that if you manage to collect 9,999 star bits, then all the green coconuts that you see in the game, which you use for fighting the boss King Caliante, for example, turn into watermelons. And this is permanent as well. No matter what you do, you're stuck with watermelons now. But is this even real? Well, as you can imagine, it would take me a really really long time to collect the required amount of star bits. So I decided to do some research online to see if this was true. I mean, there must be footage of it, right? Well, yeah, but all of it is super old. Clearly, people haven't thought of this Easter egg in ages, but it is real. So if you want all the coconuts in your save file of Super Mario Galaxy to be watermelons, then just collect 9,999 star bits. Easy, right? One of the most interesting games that Nintendo released during the Wii U era has to be Super Mario Maker, a game where you can make almost any type of crazy 2D Super Mario level, and it was a huge hit. So of course they also made a sequel for the much more successful Switch. Now as you can imagine, this game is also filled with little Easter eggs, and I found one that was quite funny to me. I saw a claim that if you take a Bowser Jr. and drag it across the editor, he will start crying and swings his arms and legs around like a child. Now this sounded super funny to me, so I booted up my copy of Super Mario Maker 2 that I hadn't touched in ages and dragged Bowser Jr. across the screen to see if he would freak out. And yeah, as you can see, he does. He clearly isn't happy with it, and I love that they added this little Easter egg to the game because it is very fitting for Bowser Jr.'s normal behavior in almost any Super Mario title. Sound is an important element when making a game, and this is something that Nintendo always understood. They always put loads of effort into sound effects, voices, and music to create the perfect setting, cutscene, or fight. But I saw a claim online that Nintendo might have cut some corners when making Super Mario Odyssey, because I saw a crazy claim that one of the sound effects in the game was taken from the Sonic franchise. When you're running around on the wall as 2D Mario and suddenly stop when sprinting, you hear this sound. But is this really from the Sonic franchise? Well, it is very similar to the sound Sonic would make in this scenario. Here, listen. So, did they steal this? Well, no, because after doing some research I found out that this sound effect is from Super Mario Bros. 3, but I get where the idea came from. It sounds similar to what could be found in some of the Sonic games, but it's not the same. This next claim is kind of crazy, dangerous, and also a bit mean, because we are going to try to piss off a Wiggler. As most of you know, huge Wigglers can be found in some of the maps in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Maple Treeway for example, and Hunter the Hero wondered if they become angry when you hit them with a shell, horn, bomb, or other item that deals damage. Well, I thought that this was worth trying, so I started a race, got my hands on some shells, and bombarded these innocent creatures. But I immediately noticed that it did nothing at all. The Wigglers didn't really care and stayed calm. So as far as I can see, these Wigglers are just there to be obstacles when racing, and hitting them with any item does nothing at all, which means that this claim is false. Now those were all the myths we had for today, but don't worry, I made more videos like these that you can check out on the channel. And don't forget, leave your ideas below, and if you donate or become a member, you're at the top of my list. And I also want to give a shout out to our massive legend member Julian Lanning. Now before you go, be sure to leave a like and subscribe so you won't miss any future videos.